It's a few days after I got home from the testing, and there have been a couple of kind of interesting thoughts and experiences that I've had. The first thing was that I was thinking about this one test that we did where I was on the computer and they showed several different snapshots of just people's eyes, and people were making different expressions with their eyes, and then you had to choose which of the four that you thought explain that person's emotions. So it might be like angry or jealous or ecstatic or something like that. And I've never done anything like this before. I didn't think it would be that hard, but I found it to be extremely difficult. And I ended up doing what I've heard people call workarounds. So where people with Asperger's have a certain sort of social deficit or other kind of challenge, they tend to compensate with something else. So I noticed myself doing a few different things. So I was looking at the photo and I was thinking, kind of going through what I feel was almost like a filing cabinet in my brain, going, okay, well, what do I know about that look? Like, if someone's like squinting, for example, like what do I know cognitively? Well, like what have maybe people said about that, or I've heard about that? And then the second thing I did was I thought, well, if I were doing that, what would I be feeling? And then the third thing I did was I was trying to picture the person's whole body, like sort of picturing, okay, if someone had that expression in their eyes, like what would the rest of their body look like? Well, I didn't understand how much I use these other techniques to understand people, and especially I think that I really rely a lot on body language to give me information that I'm missing in the facial expression. Just the fact that I was trying to picture the person's body, because that would inform me of what their expression was. And it's kind of interesting, when I was done with the survey, I think she was like clicking it maybe to go to the next one, and I saw all these red marks, and I thought, oh my God, I did terrible on that. And I told her that was really, really hard. And even she said, I was really surprised. You took a really long time on that one. And I myself was shocked. Like, what's so weird is that, like, there were these things about myself that I didn't realize that I had challenges in. I started to also realize recently that, one of the things with Asperger's is people can have what's called face blindness, and they don't recognize people by their face. I would have never thought that I had that at all. I actually tend to have a really excellent memory and remember people from 20 years ago that I barely knew, and it's almost a little bizarre. But there have been some things that have happened where I realized like how much I rely on their voice, and I think their body and body movement. It's really weird. There's more I can say about this, but I'm going to hold off for now for certain reasons. But I remember thinking one time when I was like watching TV, like I saw a certain actor, and I was like, who is that again? And I kept thinking, oh, if I could just hear his voice, I'll know who that is. Like I couldn't, and it's not that I can't see the face, but the other thing that's really weird about that is that, like, if I think about somebody I know, I have a really hard time. Like, I can't picture them in my brain. But if I think about a snapshot, a picture of them, I can visualize the picture that was taken of them a little better. But, like, I can't think of that person, like, just of their face, but I can just think of the picture, if that makes sense. It's really weird. And, so that's why I was so surprised that I did not understand those eye expressions at all. This is one of the things that's just so amazing about coming to understand about having Asperger's, that a lot of it you don't even see yourself. You can't recognize it because it's all you've ever known, and you do find ways around it. They're really super exhausting, but you don't know. You just do what you do, and somehow the body and the mind, they try and compensate and find other ways around it. So, I mean, I'm super grateful for that, but it just makes me wonder what it would be like to not have that. I guess it'd be really, really nice, actually. So anyway, that was one thing I wanted to talk about and share, because it's still, honestly, I really went through some painful feelings about it. I was just thinking more and getting more clarity about the social challenges that I have and the limitations. There have been some situations lately in particular where I feel that I've really misread people. And in retrospect, going back, I was just so surprised, like I could see it more clearly. And I also rely a lot on friends. Like a lot of times I'll talk them through a situation, and in talking with them and their feedback, that's like, I'm just making this up, like they might say, well, that was really rude, or, that person, I don't know, is being dishonest, or that's really bad, or like I can't see it, and it really is a disability, and I don't want to offend anybody by saying that, because some people are sensitive about that word, but it is. When you are not able to fully read what's going on with other people, you are more vulnerable to negative things happening. And I had to really process a lot of feelings that came up about that, like anger about things that have happened, and just having to face that vulnerability that I have, and feeling scared, and sad. So that was also part of the experience. And then the other thing that happened, the last few days I've been pretty social, and they've been really nice social occasions, and I felt, really pretty comfortable for the most part. And I've been starting to tell myself that I'm totally making this up, that there's, no way I can have Asperger's, and why have I been spending the last 5 months diving into all these books and telling people and joining Facebook groups, and now I'm doing this video, and like I've told a few friends, and it's really powerful. Now, the good news is that there's another part of myself that is clear about the subject, and this other part is saying to me, well, listen, here are some of the facts that you know. You know that you have had sensory issues since you were a child. You know that you had synesthesia, which is very common among people who have Asperger's. And I started counting through all these various things that I know about myself. And I said, I might not have it, but there are enough things that I know that are consistent with other people that have it. It's worth exploring, so, but yet it's really strange. I did not expect this level of denial to hit me. I'm going, why are you wasting your time? And oh my God, what have you done? And all this stuff. So I wanted to share it because I went ahead and I shared about it on a Facebook group, and I had a couple people, immediately respond and say, oh yeah, I went through that too. And for some reason I didn't feel like I could share it in a video, but I have to. And if I'm going through it, then I'm assuming other people will too. And at least we cannot feel alone, and we can know that this is a normal part of the process. So anyway, those are a couple things that are going on. I have no idea when I will be recording again. If anything comes up, I'll check in.